And now we come to David Harrold, the Chair of Trustees of Palestine Trauma Centre, UK. David.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. What a very beautiful voice we've been listening to. It's a privilege to hear that beauty coming from Gaza. And what I would like to do is just talk about Gaza a little bit, and if possible, show you some pictures. And the first picture I want us to look at is a picture by a child. I hope you can all see that. We have a number of pictures by children at Palestine Trauma Centre, UK, and they are eloquent. If you look on the left of this picture, you can see two poorly dressed children who seem to be surrounded by barbed wire. Gaza has 1 million children who are kept basically in a cage. Above the children on the left, you can see images, although not quite clear. At the top, you can see a plane flying overhead. You can see images of armored vehicles and soldiers. All that is keeping them from that dome, which you can see at the back of the picture, which is the image of the Haram al-Sharif, where Al-Aqsa is, where they can never go, but remains as a symbol of an aim, something to reach someday. It's a bit like having the key to the house. Now, what are these children looking at? First of all, you will notice that the children are drawn, they have no color, and they are looking at a picture which has some color. It is their hope, their expectation, their wish of something which is very normal, very ordinary. Green trees, secure love, a bird which might be a dove of peace, you can see flying on the right. So they live in fear and they live in despair, and they have a hope which, for goodness sake, is pretty modest. And in between, in order to cope with that situation, there is resilience. And that is where PTC come in, because we are there to help support them in efforts to be resilient while they live in fear and despair, and to nurture the hopes which all of them have. Children take little steps amidst ruin and destruction every day. The homes which were destroyed in the 2014 war, many have not been rebuilt at all. It is well known that there is not enough rain to overcome the severe shortage of drinking water, and that 97% of the drinking water is unfit for human use. They have to measure the times of days when the time of day when they can access two important things. The first is electricity, and the second is drinking water. And so they are living at a very basic level, in a state of continuous anxiety about whether these two basic necessities will be there for them the next day. Coping with that anxiety is one of our roles at PTC, and the team are doing a brilliant job most of the time when they can get out to do that. 85% of families with children live below the poverty line. over 60% are unemployed. This is very serious when you're talking about young men idle at home. This leads to all kinds of problems inside families. And therefore, learning how to cope with those stresses inside families is an important role for PTC. Children have not been educated as much as they wish. Education is of great value to these children. They value it far more than our children do over here in the UK, because they see it as a way of escape, a means of enriching their lives, which are otherwise so dull. And one of the problems with the lockdown due to COVID has been the fact that many of them have not been able to go to school or use the virtual education classes available. So the one question that we need to ask ourselves about these children is, what will they think of? What will they remember of this time? There are so many bad things happening. What will they remember? Now, all of you who may have experienced huge difficulties in your childhood will probably realize that what you remember are the good things. You don't want to remember the bad things. And key amongst that is the memory of people who may not have known you for very long, but who provided you with some kind of security which gave you the strength to go on when you didn't feel that you wanted to go on. And one of the things that we hope that PTC provides is something which these children who otherwise have to carry on working to keep their families going, that one of the things that they can now have as a memory to sustain them is some periods of joy, some experience of nurture outside their own family, which will give them the resilience they need to keep going. Now, many of you already know of the Friday of Joy initiative, which was out on the streets. This now has obviously cut down its activities because of the COVID crisis. But we are able to do something. There are videos and there are remote sessions which are provided for children and for families. So the Friday of Joy is often online, and you can find a YouTube channel with some of the activities which are broadcast. Also, a few members of Friday of Joy go out onto the streets and perform for neighborhoods, so that children can stand or sit at the windows or their doors and look out and join in that way. So the team in Gaza have been most imaginative in overcoming this crisis, showing resilience and imagination themselves, and providing this memory for the children. In addition to that, helping with food parcels, giving instructions on how to cope with COVID and prepare for it, aiding the community in sterilization programs, and providing a hotline for people on their own in despair who need somebody to talk to. Now, all of this work needs your support. None of this is easy, and we are all of us finding it difficult to cope financially at the moment. Please be generous. Please realize that you are giving these children and these families support at a bad time, which they will remember for the rest of their lives. Thank you very much.
تعالوا هيك، تعالوا شو ندعو لهم؟